Hello. Come to do some more for my junky junk journally mixed media journal thing that I'm making, and I'm going to be using a lot of scraps for today. The good thing about making this particular journal is it's way out of my normal kind of working area. I wouldn't say it's outside my comfort zone. Some of it definitely is, but I am definitely going for a kind of trashy, junky, messy look, which it's kind of liberating to just do this and go with it and not be caught up on having things neat and tidy and made in a way that I know nothing ever bad is going to happen to it. But I think this is quite organic, and if things get bent or damaged or come apart, it's just going to kind of add to the aesthetic of the kind of journal that I'm going to do. So I'm using these are just little scraps of fabric that I have cut even smaller. I've dyed them. Some of them I've put paint marks on. I've got some scrap packaging paper that I've also just chucked a little bit of white paint on. I've got a few book pages, which I'm just going to move over there. And I've got some trim. It's most of it is scrap. It's all kind of bits, and you know, whatever we do with these. This is not scrap. This I got from my really good friend Karen, and it's absolutely beautiful. So I'm going to put that over there. I don't want that to get painted on or anything. Bits of muslin that are tea dyed. Just scraps. That is literally what I have here to use. Now the main scrap material for this, because I'm going to be making some scrappy tatty embellishments with junk and scraps and bits and pieces. What I did, and this again was quite freeing, I got a piece of this, it's just corrugated packing material that came in some Amazon delivery or whatever, and I've got a few pieces of that I've been hoarding ready for this. I just cut a piece off, slapped a bit of paint on, two areas. I did, you know, a couple of pink and green. I mean, they're definitely not my normal colour combinations, and brown and the same green. And I literally just tore it into little sections. That's it. And this is going to be the base. What I have done before I painted it is I used my bone folder to just push down some of that corrugated cardboard, just so it wasn't going to be so bulky. Okay, so all I'm going to do is literally layer some junk. I've got my Fabri-Tac and it's a bit pants because it's a bit thick and gloopy. I haven't used it for a little while, and I'm not going to think about it. I'm actually not even going to lay it out before I put things down. So I'm going to just, I'm not putting a lot of glue because I'm going to sew. I'm just going to literally lay a piece of that down. Got some music paper. Okay, I'm gonna work on this side, so I'm just gonna lay that. I'm gonna have a little bit hanging over the top, and a little. This is what I'm saying about not worrying if things get damaged, because they're going to be hanging. Bits are going to be hanging. There's a little bit of glue left there, so I'm just gonna add that like so. I think I'm gonna have maybe a piece of bright green. Get a bigger piece. I'm going to put that on, and let me grab a piece of something from over here. That's going to be a bit big. Where did I put my scissors? Here they are. I'm going to just cut it. All not thinking, just being a little bit more free than I usually am. I'm going to have that hanging off too. Just going to add a small amount of glue here. And again, and like I said, I'm not going to glue this with any Okay, and that is it. That is all I'm going to do to that for now. I say, as I grab something else. Right. I'm going to put something along here. So just a little bit of glue. I'm going to have that hanging quite low. I can always cut it once I've decided where it's going to go in the journal, what it's going to be, whether it's going to be a tuck spot, whether it's going to be a tab, whether it's going to be something I sew in so it lifts up, whether it's just going to be a page embellishment. Who knows? Who knows? But that is not like me at all. But we are going to do some further decorating on these, so we'll see how time goes. So I'm going to get a long one now, and oh, look at that. That's awesome. Do it on a piece of paper. Okay, so I'm going to work at the top here mostly on this one. So I'm just going to, bit of glue. Let's go that way round. And a bit more glue. And have that like so. On a piece of this, I think I'm going to go for a piece of lace along the bottom, since we have a spare piece. And anybody who's watched me before will know this is definitely not my normal method of working. Not at all. I am going to tatty this up though, because it's far too neat along those edges. And I think we're going to create something that I think you're going to be able to see that there was a lot more freedom while creating than in most of my other work. Sorry, it's a little bit wide, but I don't want to have a straight cut line. There we go. I'm just going to add a tiny bit of glue to this because it probably will show. It's quite thin, this fabric. Let's put a little bit down here. But this, as we've been working with everything else, this is literally a base to do something on, whether it's just sewing, whether it's adding some hand stitching, whether it's adding some buttons, some charms, whatever it is, it won't be a kit. I really like that one. Very simple, just literally stuck a few pieces, and you're only going to get a few pieces of the paint showing. What I am going to do is I'm going to do a little bit of painting on top of these so they've got time to dry. And what I'm doing is I'm just literally using a white acrylic. I'm not using a paintbrush, I'm using a scrappy piece of foam that came in I don't know what. So I'm just tapping it off a little bit and then just adding some paint. And I'll get a little bit of paint on that fabric too, that green. It also kind of just brings the elements together so they look like they're working together. There we go. Just a few pieces, and that's going to look really cool once we get the black stitching on. And I'm going to do the same on this piece. I'm not worried if it's too heavy in some places and not in others. And I'm even going to get a little bit of lace on the, little bit of paint on the lace. Okay, so that's that one done. Okay, 2 down. Let's do this one. I really like that little bit sticking out there, but I'm going to do a little bit of blue, I think, on this one. Really like that. So let's not change our pattern. This one's still a little bit high, so I'm just going to flatten that slightly. Still going to give it texture, so we're still going to get that down. Now, the only thing I am going to try and decide, I think I want a piece of, yeah, a piece of this. Definitely not overthinking it. The only thing I want to decide is do I want the flower on top or do I want the blue on top? That flower's a bit big actually. So that might look quite cool actually stitched in there, hand stitched. So I'm going to add a little bit of glue. Like I said, I'm not worried too much about the glue. As long as things are held in place roughly where I want them, when I sew them it will all be held. And that I can hand sew. So that's that one. I'm just going to add a little bit of white paint again. Maybe not so much here. Not overthinking it. And it's so difficult to do, but once you do it, it's marvellous. Just want a little bit more. There we go. That's better. Yeah. There we go. Might actually just soften that brown. There we go. So that's going to be another one. And then we've got room here to add a little stitch. We could also, once we've sewn, we might decide to move the flower. So that's three. One more. That way, I think. Really love that. Put that on. I mean, these are not me at all. These kind of flower things. I kind of like the green. We haven't got any paper in here, so let's tuck a little bit. Let's just glue it in. Let's just glue it in. How me is that? Not at all. There's nothing wrong with that, but what I am going to do is going to grab my this is ground espresso, so it's quite dark. I'm not even going to cut these little pieces off. Just going to give that a little, and that will definitely need sewing in after. So let's go back in with our paint. These kind of remind me of me after I've decorated a room. I end up with little bits of paint everywhere. And what I'm also going to do is just dab. There we go. And that is going to be our next one. So not like me at all, but if you imagine, and this is one of the runoff, the clean-up papers that I was using yesterday. If you imagine that as a page with that at the side, it's just going to look so cool, especially once we've got some sewing and bits and pieces going on. So that is the 4 quickest embellishments I think I have ever made. And I'm just going to show you a few that I've already made and sewn, and tell you a little bit about what I did to a couple of them as a bit of an experiment. That could go either way. White is something else I don't use very often. I've actually got a challenge in my Facebook group at the moment, which is use something you don't like. Hello. White. I never use white. So be inspired, just have a play. So these two, I've kind of had a little bit of an experiment with them. This one I have actually gone over the top with some pastel pencils, and this one I actually used some water soluble wax crayons, wax pastels, and I've just activated that very slightly. So if, I mean, for example, if I did want to use this page, the red might actually pull that in quite nicely. So it's just what have I got here? I have the biggest pile of stuff in front of me. I think there's probably going to be enough for 2 journals here. That, for example, might work really well on top of the blue page. So somebody asked me about what I did with the backs, actually, of these pages. And just show you. So that was the one that I made. I've just gone over with the roller and given them some paint, some colour. Not necessarily how it's going to stay, but I did that. I've also, what else have I done? I've done various bits and pieces. Some of it I'm going to do in videos, so I'm not going to show you just yet. So these are what we have. Now, they are all ready to add something. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a little think and then come back with some things to add to these. I'm back. I hope I'm going to be in frame because the software has decided it's not kind of going to work now. What I've done is I've got a button that I found. That one I'm not sure about. I've got this awesome bead, a wooden bead that I got from the lovely Abby, who is Purple Cottage Crafts. And this one, I think I'm going to sew, that's a bit long. I think I'm going to sew on this paper clip that I've aged. I have a piece of broken jewellery, and it's got a couple of, they're quite proud, so I'm gonna maybe sew that onto the bottom of that one. That one we've got the flower, which I've glued, but I'm gonna sew that too. This one, I found this bead that I like, but I'm gonna have to, I think, put a hole in this. So I'm going to put that one to the side. This one I'm going to try and find a stamp for, I think, and this one as well. And what I've done is sewn the ones we made earlier. So, I mean, they're any way up, aren't they? So these are now sewn. That's the flower. And then there was this one also with a flower. Now, I'm not sure I'm going to film me sewing these. I might sew one. Let's do the stamps. I've got my box of stamps here, and I've also got, this is a stamp, but I actually love that. So maybe that's going to go there. I think it probably is, even though there is an awesome stamp on the other side with some gorgeous text. I think that's going there. Now, we've also got these stamps that are, that's another one that's been cut off a postcard. This one is quite cool. It's a little bit wide for that space. This one again, we've got some nice text on it. So I'm just going to put that to the side. Whoops. Oh, I've just dropped one of those. That's never to be seen again, probably. This one might be a little bit big as well, but I do do want to put this on here. I think might need to just tear that down slightly. It just works, doesn't it? Just works there. It really does. So it's a little bit lumpy and bumpy. I may be able to, maybe not, remove some of this bulkiness. Like that. Yeah, I think he's going to have to go there. Sorry, stamp. I feel terrible. I think I got this as I bought a pack of well, it was an album actually. It was an old photo album that came with an envelope with quite a few stamps in, and I think this was in that set. So I'm just going to hold this in place for a moment. I think I'm probably still going to sew a little bit on here, but unfortunately you're all going to scream at me now. I'm going to add a bit of white paint because I just think that needs a little bit of breaking up and blending in with the background. So there you are. And it's a case of, if I think I need to do something, I'm just going to do it. I'm not going to think about it and worry about it. That's, let me just check you can see that. There you go. That's that. Might sew it along here, but I'm loving it. Love it. That's that one. So this is where you have to kind of start to think. Let's do this one, because this one definitely, I think for me, it's this way up. So what have we got stamp wise? That would go. This one. I've decided on this one. That's the right one for me, I think. There. I'm happy with that. Very happy with that. So that's two done. We've got some ones to sew, and then we have this one, which I think has quite a lot of possibilities in terms of which way up it goes. I don't know, I really like it that way, but then that way is also quite good. Okay, let's have a look to see if we have a suitable stamp. I think this one, that's actually quite damaged. Let's see if I can get that off. I'm going to put a little bit of glue under here. I am so enjoying this particular creating. I really am. Right, so that's three done, all with obviously kind of a stick on, something stuck on rather than sewn. I am going to sew the others, so I'm not going to bore you, but what I will do is at the end there will be a photo of them to show you what I did to them all. I hope that's okay. Oh, I don't know about this one. Where was that? I think it was on there, so I might have to sew that there. Okay, that's it for now. So we are starting on embellishments ready for pages. I'll do the sewing, do a photograph, and get your scraps out, get your tatty bits out, glue them down without thinking. That's my advice for today. Thank you so much for coming along. I will see you all again really soon. Take care. Bye.